Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're diving into one of the most profound, yet often overlooked, transformations happening on our planet. It's not about climate change or artificial intelligence, but it's just as world-shaping. We're talking about babies. Or more specifically, the dramatic and historic decline in the number of babies being born. For the first time in modern history, the global fertility rate is falling off a cliff. Right now, more than half of all countries and territories on Earth have fertility rates below the replacement level. That means their populations are on track to shrink generation after generation without immigration. This isn't a distant future projection. It's happening now, and it's creating a demographic divide that will redefine our world for the rest of the century. So how did we get here? And where are we headed? Let's get into it. For most of human history, high fertility wasn't a choice. It was a necessity. In a world of high infant mortality, having many children was the only way to ensure some would survive to adulthood. As recently as the 1960s, the average woman on Earth had about 5 children. But then, something unprecedented happened. In just a few decades, that global average has been slashed in half. In 2021, the total fertility rate, or TFR, which is the average number of children a woman will have in her lifetime, dropped to just 2.2. By 2023, it was 2.3. That might not sound dramatic, but it's a monumental shift. Think about it this way. The global population is now teetering right on the edge of the replacement level, which is 2.1 births per woman. Why 2.1 and not 2.0? The extra 0.1 accounts for the fact that not all children will survive to adulthood. Already, 110 out of 204 countries are below this line. The speed of this change is staggering. In India, the TFR fell from 5 children per woman in the 1970s to just 2 today. South Korea's drop is even more extreme, plummeting from around 6 children in the 1950s to less than 1 today, the lowest in the world. And this trend is set to continue. Projections show the global TFR falling to 1.8 by 2050 and a startling 1.6 by the year 2100. By then, it's predicted that only 6 countries on the entire planet, Samoa, Somalia, Tonga, Niger, Chad, and Tajikistan, will have fertility rates above the replacement level. Even more shocking, in 13 countries, including places you might not expect, like Bangladesh, Bhutan, and Saudi Arabia, rates are expected to fall below 1 child per woman. So what's causing this great decline? It's not one single thing, but a powerful combination of social and economic forces. Perhaps the single most important driver is the empowerment of women. Decades of data from around the world show a crystal-clear correlation. As women gain more access to education and join the workforce, fertility rates fall. Educated women tend to marry later, start families later, and have more autonomy over their reproductive choices. A stark example comes from Iran. In the 1950s, when Iranian women had an average of just 3 years of schooling, the fertility rate was 7 children. By 2010, the average schooling had risen to 9 years, and the fertility rate had plummeted to 1.8. The second major factor is the incredible decline in child mortality. Thanks to better healthcare, sanitation, and nutrition, children are surviving to adulthood at rates unimaginable a century ago. When parents are confident their children will survive, the historical incentive to have a large family simply disappears. They can instead choose to have fewer children and invest more resources, time, and energy into the health and education of each one. Third, there's the simple, cold, hard economics of raising a child. In most of the world, children have shifted from being an economic asset to a significant financial undertaking. Gone are the days of agrarian societies where more children meant more hands to work the farm. Today, the rising costs of housing, education, and childcare make raising a family incredibly expensive, especially in developed countries. This economic pressure leads many people to delay having children, or to have fewer than they might otherwise want. Finally, the widespread availability of modern contraception has been a game changer. Access to family planning has given people, particularly women, unprecedented control over the number and spacing of their children. In Kenya, for example, the use of modern contraceptives skyrocketed from around 15% in 1990 to nearly 60% by 2022, a period which saw a corresponding drop in fertility rates. But while much of the world is seeing birth rates fall, there is one major exception: Sub-Saharan Africa. Here, the story is completely different. The region's fertility rate is nearly double the global average, standing at around 4 children per woman. In the nation of Chad, the TFR is 7, the highest in the world. So why is this region an outlier? A primary reason is the low prevalence of modern contraceptive use, which was only at 29% as of 2019. This is often combined with a high unmet need for family planning, meaning many women who want to avoid pregnancy aren't using modern methods. Culture also plays a significant role. In many parts of sub-Saharan Africa, large families are still highly valued for social and religious reasons. And unfortunately, high rates of adolescent childbearing, often linked to child marriage, are a major factor. West and Central Africa have the highest rates of teenage pregnancy in the world. When a girl marries young, it often ends her education and perpetuates a cycle of early and frequent childbirth. These divergent paths, falling fertility almost everywhere else and persistently high fertility in sub-Saharan Africa, are creating massive ripple effects that are reshaping our world. Let's talk about the consequences. For countries with low fertility, the biggest worry is economic. A shrinking workforce means fewer people to drive the economy and innovate. It also creates a massive strain on social safety nets. With a growing number of retirees and a shrinking number of workers, funding pensions and healthcare becomes a monumental challenge. Think of Japan or Russia, which are already facing the pressures of an aging and shrinking population. However, it's not all doom and gloom. Lower fertility means societies can invest more in the education and health of each individual, potentially creating a smaller but more skilled and productive workforce. It can also boost the economy by enabling more women to participate in the labor force. On the flip side, countries with high fertility face their own set of challenges. Rapid population growth can strain public services like schools and hospitals. It can make it difficult to provide jobs for the tidal wave of young people entering the workforce, leading to poverty and instability. These seismic demographic shifts are also redrawing the geopolitical map. Demography has always been a key component of national power. The 21st century will be no different. The influence of aging powers like Russia, Japan, and even China may be hampered by their demographic decline. China's rapid rise, for instance, could be cut short by its even more rapid aging. Conversely, countries with young, growing populations could see their global influence rise. By the year 2100, 1 in every 2 children born on the planet will be in sub-Saharan Africa. If, and this is a big if, these nations can educate their youth and create economic opportunities, this demographic dividend could fuel incredible growth and shift the center of global power. In response to these trends, governments are scrambling to find the right policies. They generally fall into 2 camps. In countries with plunging birth rates, governments are trying pro-natalist or pro-birth policies. These include financial incentives like cash bonuses for having kids, generous paid parental leave, and subsidized childcare. France and Sweden have seen some modest success with these family support policies. Hungary and Poland have tried extensive loan forgiveness programs for families. However, while these policies can help, they are incredibly expensive and are not a magic bullet. They might nudge the birth rate up slightly, but they are unlikely to reverse the powerful social and economic forces driving it down. In countries with high fertility, the focus is on anti-natalist policies, which in the modern era means promoting voluntary family planning. The goal is not coercion, but empowerment. Successful programs, like those in Thailand and Kenya, have focused on three things: increasing access to a wide range of modern contraceptives, providing education about reproductive health, and building strong healthcare systems to support these services. These programs not only help slow population growth, but also dramatically improve the health of mothers and children. So what does the future hold? A world of incredible demographic diversity. Some nations will be managing aging and decline, while others will be managing youth and growth. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. For low-fertility countries, the path forward likely involves supporting families, making it easier for people to have the children they want, and preparing for a future with an older population, which may include embracing immigration. For high-fertility nations, the key remains investing in education, women's empowerment, and voluntary family planning to achieve sustainable development. Ultimately, the goal shouldn't be about hitting a specific population number. It should be about creating societies where individuals are healthy, educated, and free to make their own choices about their lives and their families. By focusing on human well-being and gender equality, we can best navigate the shifting tides of global fertility and build a more prosperous future for everyone, no matter where they live.